The duty to care legally requires employers to take all reasonable steps to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of their most important asset, being their employees. Hello and welcome to My Safety Hub, your go-to source for all things health and safety. Today we will be discussing an important aspect of health and safety, being the duty to care and how this is to be executed in the workplace. The duty to care requires employers to take all reasonable steps to ensure the health, safety and well-being of their employees. And for identifying and assessing risks, this means regular risk assessments that need to be conducted. Employers must systematically examine the workplace and work activities, and they need to identify anything that could cause harm. They must also evaluate the likelihood and severity of potential harm through an ongoing process. Employers must also consult with employees about health and safety matters, and workers should be involved in identifying risks as they often have first-hand knowledge and experience with regards to the tasks being performed. Employers need to specifically address physical hazards, chemical hazards, biological hazards, ergonomic hazards, and even psychosocial or behavioral hazards. The documentation in this regard would need to be created and kept on hand, such as the risk assessment itself, as well as evidence of the consultations between employers and employees. Furthermore, it's important to remember that the control measures identified to mitigate risks would need to be implemented whilst continuously monitoring and evaluating such controls through control measure inspections and job safety observations, which would need to be conducted to confirm their effectiveness. There are then mandatory training requirements which would need to be fulfilled as well. Initial safety induction for all new employees before starting work needs to be completed, whilst regular refresher training at appropriate intervals need to be planned and executed. Additional training would need to be conducted when new equipment or procedures are introduced and must be provided as a duty to inform employees, while specific training for high-risk tasks or specialized roles are a must. The following are core points of safety information that has to be supplied to employees. Firstly, the communication of workplace hazards specific to their role has to be completed along with the proper use of safety equipment and protective gear. Emergency procedures and evacuation routes need to be covered along with the location of first aid facilities and fire safety equipment. In addition, accident reporting procedures and safe operating procedures for equipment are vital for employees to carry out their work safely. We have to keep in mind that employees have the right to a safe working environment, as well as the right to refuse unsafe work. But we also have to keep in mind that employees have to follow safety procedures and instructions and to use protective equipment properly at all times. They also have to take care of themselves along with any other person who may be harmed through their actions and omissions, meaning that the duty to care is not only applicable to employers, but to the entire workforce. From a duty of care perspective, ensuring adequate supervision and support for employees is a critical responsibility that organizations must fulfill. This begins with establishing clear supervisory structures where experienced and qualified supervisors are assigned to oversee work activities, particularly in high-risk areas. These supervisors must have the appropriate knowledge, skills, and authority to effectively monitor work practices and intervene when necessary. Organizations must implement a comprehensive supervision strategy that includes regular workplace inspections, observation of work practices, and immediate correction of unsafe behaviors. This involves maintaining appropriate supervisor-to-worker ratios, especially in areas where dangerous equipment is being operated or hazardous materials are being handled. Supervisors should be readily available and accessible during all operational hours, including shift work and overtime periods. For employees working with dangerous equipment, the supervision framework should include specific checkpoints and protocols. This means having qualified supervisors verify that workers are following proper operating procedures, using required safety equipment, and maintaining necessary certifications. Regular competency assessments should be conducted to ensure workers maintain their skills and knowledge over time. Support systems must extend beyond direct supervision to include mentoring programs, peer support networks, and access to technical experts when needed. Organizations should establish clear communication channels for workers to raise concerns or seek guidance, with supervisors being trained to respond appropriately to these communications. This includes having procedures for escalating serious safety concerns to higher management levels when necessary. The organization must also consider the psychological aspects of working in high-risk environments. This means providing adequate emotional support, stress management resources, and regular check-ins to ensure workers' mental well-being. Supervisors should be trained to recognize the signs of fatigue, stress, or other factors that might affect safe work performance. For remote or isolated workers, organizations need specialized supervision strategies. This might include regular video check-ins, remote monitoring systems, buddy systems, or scheduled site visits. The organization must ensure these workers have reliable communication methods to reach supervisors or emergency services when needed. Documentation plays a vital role in demonstrating adequate supervision. Organizations should maintain records of supervisory activities, including workplace inspections, safety meetings, intervention actions, and follow-up measures. These records help demonstrate compliance with duty to care obligations and identify areas where supervision might need to be strengthened. These are but some of the obligations to be exercised to demonstrate the duty to care towards employees and to each other. And the onus remains on employers and employees alike to collaborate in creating a safe workplace for everyone. Together, we can all ensure that every person gets to go home at the end of every day. Thank you for joining us, and if you enjoyed this content, please like the video, share it with your colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay inspired, and until next time, take care.